Trading is closed on the 24th of October 2022. It's time for our disclaimer, going over our calls and making some predictions. It's my trading plan for Tuesday, October 25th, 2022. Please remember, I can be completely wrong. Any trade you make should be at your own risk. Look for the pattern with the early high, which is this, tends to be a rally day with a high in the final hour, so we got that. We had a lower target, 37.1820. We said unless we gapped up smartly, the rules call for it to print. We gapped up smartly. The number remains on the list, but not the time. It gets to join its friends from this year. That's too many at some point, probably before too long. Some of these will get crossed off. We did cross one member of the crew off today, 37.70.96. That's the red line. Ultimately, it did print. And we have a new target from today's pattern, 37.76.90. Unless we gap up smartly, that's my call for tomorrow. MEJT gave a sell signal here. This rally is called false. It should retrace. We should at least go lower than these lows. We've had a long-standing target that since we had a reversal bar here involving the lower Bollinger Band when the band was flat, that we should have a challenge of the upper band. That was met today. Now it's a target. It's not a stop and reverse. But this particular pattern doesn't require us to go higher. Doesn't require us to go lower either, but it's done its job. Well, we have a completed pattern here. We had this trend line. We said unless we gapped over the trend line, we should return to it. You could argue that we gapped over it and returned to it intraday. That doesn't usually cut the mustard with me. I guess you could say it already happened, but I'd be a lot happier since you can't see a gap on this chart. I'd be a lot happier if we returned to this declining trend line. And where is it at tomorrow? I guess about lower. I mean, it's about 60 handles lower, 50, 60 handles lower. Doesn't have to be tomorrow, but I think I'd be happier if we retrace to that line. And it doesn't help matters that this rally here was a 38.2% retrace of the last leg down, which is one of the places you encounter fib resistance. And it also doesn't help that you can count this as an ABC up. With C equal to A. Now, I have wave 4 completing here, and this is the end of 5. The fibs work, but nothing stops this from being the end of 4 and the 5th wave coming. I think this will hold, but it could certainly truncate and not break any rules. If you look at this here, you can take an A, a B, and the C and the fibs all work. So we have Fibonacci resistance here. We have a trendline break that I think should retrace. We have the pattern meeting its target from the low. I think if we don't gap up, we're going to see 37.76.90 tomorrow, and I'm not ruling out 37.18.20, which doesn't have to print tomorrow, but nothing says it won't, and these ultimate targets tend to print reasonably soon, even though it's not a rule. Now, of course, if we gap up, all is forgiven. But if we don't, I look for lower prices. Doesn't mean we have to close lower, but that's what I think could happen. Now tomorrow's pattern has the early high. We could still gap down. There's a lower target. If we don't gap up smartly, the rules call for it to print. We have Fibonacci resistance at today's high. Challenge of the upper Bollinger Band in the daily chart's been met. Today's normally bullish pattern did manage to close over the midday high, but it was under that high within the last 5 minutes of trading, and that makes the accomplishment tainted. We didn't gap over an important trend line on the daily chart. None of this guarantees the whole recovery's ended, but if we don't gap up smartly, I think we'll see the lower target and possibly more on the downside tomorrow. It's the pattern with the early high. That's today's call.